So, welcome all to the PO's Guide to memoQ 9.6, our webinar for this December. First of all, Zsolt will show you the new WebTrans features and then a couple of improvements in our Work Smarter, Not Harder topic, which this time it's mostly machine translation related. And then I'm going to show you a little about how pre-translation was introduced on the web and an improvement regarding single sign-on.
Thank you, Veronica. Good afternoon, everyone. So today, first, I'm going to be talking about our new WebTrans features. But before I do that, let me just give you a brief summary of what we have been working on our web offering, memoQ Web, since, let's say, for the past 2 years, say. So first of all, we had a revamp of the WebPM interface in 9.0, and ever since we've had continuous improvements introduced. Then in 9.3, we had a new My Tasks page deployed in WebTrans. So if a translator clicks the WebTrans link, then first encounters the 21st century look of the My Tasks page. Then the next step is the current one, where we are introducing new features, new functions to our WebTrans. And we are doing this right now because revamping the entire WebTrans will take more time and more effort, but in the process, we wanted to deliver value to our translators who work on the web. So we decided that even before the design revamp of WebTrans, we introduced some new features and hope you will like them. And we are going to have much more to come on memoQ Web in the coming years. So let's take first a look at the new WebTrans interface. Basically, the only thing that you can see from here is that we have many more icons. We'll talk about it in greater detail. You can see that we also have a context ID shown here in the preview if you want to display that. And there's something new at the bottom of the screen. So let's jump in and let's see what's coming to WebTrans. I use these yellow brackets to highlight the new icons that reveal most of the features. So without any particular order, let me just talk about some of the biggest that hopefully will help our translators working on the web. We have implemented Run QA for the entire document, so it's no longer checking QA. It's no longer a row-based feature, but it's a document-based feature. So anytime you press Run QA, WebTrans will check your rows and will update your QA marks and statuses. So you will have those new warning signs or error signs if there are any. One feature that a lot of our WebTrans users asked for was auto-propagation, so that if you type in translation for a specific source text and the same thing comes up further down in the document, WebTrans will automatically populate that. And even better, clicking the auto-propagation option, you can tell WebTrans which direction to use auto-propagation, just like in the client. Another thing that seems somewhat simple, but will probably make the lives of many of our LSP clients happier is to introduce smart quotes. This is the same option that's available in the client. It's the basically, once you click that in, WebTrans will automatically convert straight quotes and straight apostrophes to smart quotes and smart apostrophes. Then moving on, we have what we call non-printing characters. If you click that option, then WebTrans will also reveal, just like the client, those non-printing characters like spaces, non-breaking spaces, and all those other non-printing characters that do not show up in print, but they are in there in the document, and they actually can change the behavior of your document if you don't pay attention. This is again a sort of toggle button, so you can turn it on and off, just like the smart quotes option. Another thing is inline tags. Working with inline tags has not been such a happy place with WebTrans. Basically, you just had the option to see short tags, short representation of the tags in WebTrans. So what we did was we introduced an option whereby you can click on an icon to change between short and long display of inline tags. And even better, you can even edit inline tags, which is probably a big blessing for localization companies and any translator who need to change a URL inside a tag. Some other features that probably will increase productivity include selecting all segments, which has been somewhat painful up until now. So you can just either click the icon or use the normal shortcut that you would use in the client. And once we were there, we implemented some new features when dealing with multiple segments. So now you can copy source to target in multiple segments. So you can select a number of segments and press the keyboard combo, or just click the icon, and immediately you would have all those rows populated with the copy content on the target side. If you change your mind, you can still clear the selection, clear the translations from the selected segments with a single click of your mouse. So that will hopefully increase your speed of translating in WebTrans. And as you can see at the bottom, you now have a fully functional status bar. It's pretty much just like in the client. We don't have a project progress, obviously, because WebTrans works on the document level, and you would see your progress in a project on your My Tasks page. So here we are showing the document progress, all those statuses, and please pay attention to this addition. We now have the current position of the cursor inside the segment to show. And just a reminder, this new feature showing the position within the segment is now available in the client. So hopefully you will find it useful, especially when you have certain length limitations you need to comply with. As I introduced earlier on, we can now show context ID in preview. Once again, a feature that localization companies will find useful. And the last thing I want to talk about here on this slide is full Mac support, which is not just to ensure that the features that are currently working on Windows computers will work on Mac computers using native browsers and some of the most popular browsers on Mac. But also we upgraded our tooltips to indicate what the keyboard combinations are for specific commands. So obviously, instead of control, you would use command button on a Mac computer. So the tooltips, whenever there's a difference in between the two systems, the tooltips will reveal both the Windows and the Mac versions of those keyboard combinations. Moving on, some of the heavy stuff. Filtering and sorting, they have been available in WebTrans for a while, but they were really limited in the options available. So now we introduced advanced filtering and sorting options. Basically, the sorting options are exactly the same as in the client, as you can see on the right side of the screen. And as far as filtering, we basically combine the first two tabs on the filters page or the filters dialog in the client and we made it probably more user-friendly, and we also introduced what we call a custom option under the filter sets. So basically, you can select any of the preset filters, filter sets, and if you change anything underneath using the checkboxes, the selection will drop down to custom immediately, and your browser will remember these custom filter settings the next time you want to use them. So this is a browser level information that we store. I think it's going to be a game changer and definitely a productivity enhancer in WebTrans. So go ahead, play around with it, try it, and provide us with some feedback. Like I said, we've done extensive interviews with users working on WebTrans or having translators, mostly in-house translators working on WebTrans, and we wanted to respond to their immediate pain points, those things that seem to hold them back and reduce their productivity. So we really look forward to your feedback as far as the WebTrans features go. Moving on to the next topic is working smarter and not harder. Empties, as you have gotten accustomed to, getting more and more inside memoQ, and this is a biggie that we are now introducing ModernMT as a new built-in MT plugin. Those of you who have used or who regularly use Intento, the Intento MT plugin actually has offered ModernMT for some time, but we understand that some of our users prefer to use MT services directly. So this time we are actually implementing ModernMT as a separate plugin. It was actually introduced as a private plugin in memoQ 9.4, so you were able to add it to the software without any issue. And for the first time in memoQ 9.6, we are introducing it as a built-in plugin, which means that if you install memoQ 9.6, you will see this, this new plugin immediately available inside the software. And this has been obviously reviewed both in terms of design and the code. So let's see why ModernMT is a powerful plugin of choice for translators. Well, first off, it offers self-learning option, just like several other MT providers now in memoQ. But what's even better is that you can upload your TMX files, your translation memory files, create a copy of those translation memories on the ModernMT server in a protected environment. And on this interface, you can even tell ModernMT that in the specific project that you're working on and you're using ModernMT, which memories ModernMT should use, and also update as you go along in the translation. So basically what it does is, if you have this self-learning option checked in, your translations will update the existing translation memories. So next time around, when you need to translate something similar, ModernMT will use those stored sentences to customize the translation and basically fine-tune it so that the machine translation that gets back to memoQ resembles more the style and the vocabulary that the translator used when correcting the initial MT setup. And as you can see, you can use multiple translation memories. You can update multiple translation memories as well. So based on our preliminary tests, ModernMT has scored pretty well and pretty high in various language combinations and fields of expertise. And just to give you a figure, 2,100 language combinations supported. So ModernMT is really a choice, an MT choice that I would say even freelance translators should be considering, in addition to the big ones like Google, Microsoft, and DeepL. Some other news on the MT front, we have updated our Amazon Translate plugin, which was initially introduced in memoQ 9.3. The new features include customer managed encryption key for increased security. And this was specifically requested to protect terminology that's being used and uploaded on the Amazon servers. So this complies with all the security requirements of our clients to make sure that their term bases are well protected and no unauthorized access is possible. In addition, we also introduced what has become standard in many of the plugins, formatting and tags options. So you can send formatting and tags, and you can even select whether you want to send your request to the MT engine in HTML or XML format. So that's Amazon Translate, and some minor updates. We updated our Canton MT plugin. Basically, it's for increased processing speed. So hopefully, many of you will find that Canton MT responds faster than before. Tilda has become one of those MT plugins that now supports self-learning capability. So basically, it can learn from your translations and provide you with better translations as time goes by. And we also introduced something that's not clearly visible to the outside user, but we introduced some new algorithm to automatically correct punctuation issues whenever some of the MT services return translations that have extra spaces or punctuation marks placed in incorrect places. memoQ will try and correct them before actually displaying them on the grid. So that's about the MT news. And let me hand it over to Veronica, who will be talking about pre-translate in memoQ Web.
So pre-translation in memoQ Web. This is the last installment in introducing the most important project management functionalities to the web. So this is the interface on the web. And the functionality that is now available on the web as well is choosing which TMs you are using for pre-translation, which is a fairly new feature in pre-translation anyway, but now it was also introduced on the web. Choosing which machine translation plugins you use if you want to TM-driven segmentation, which means when pre-translation runs, if there is no good match for a segment, then memoQ will attempt to find good matches by joining neighboring segments and also splitting segments up. This has been available in local projects for a while. It was then broken for a little while, and then it was reintroduced, and now it is available in online projects as well. You can set up the smallest segment you allow memoQ to create. Right here, it's 3 words. You most probably don't want to split up your segments into single words, even if there is a match for them. You can also change how many segments memoQ tries to join. It used to be only 2 or 3. Now you can go up as high as 5 if you want to. And if you remember that it will obviously mean slower processing. So pre-translation will run a little longer if you ask memoQ to try to join more than 2 or 3 segments. It is roughly linear. So if you set this to 4, it will roughly take twice as much as if you set it to just 2. So it won't grow from 10 minutes to days, but it's still a little more time. And Fragment assembly with pre-translation is not yet on the web, but it will be introduced in 9.7. You can, of course, confirm and or lock segments when you pre-translate. You can create minor version snapshots before and or after pre-translation as you like. And you can run statistics right after pre-translation. So this is pretty much the same that you can do from the desktop client. And single sign-on. Just a refresher. So what we introduced with 9.5 was that when a company had already had some kind of an identity provider service in place. It's been possible since 9.5 to allow the users who are already there in their company system to use that same account to log in to memoQ server. So that made the life of internal people, internal translators, internal project managers a little easier, and also that of the admins. But what about this guy who is not an employee of this company who has the server? He most probably has a Google account or a Microsoft account. From 9.6, it is also possible for the company who owns this memoQ server to allow these Google accounts to serve as a login for the memoQ server. It is a one-time setup for them, so pretty much for this company. But if they do that setup, then all their external people who don't have a user for their company system, say Azure Active Directory, but do have a Google or a Microsoft account, they can use that to log in to the memoQ server. So this goes for pretty much, so these private accounts, Google accounts and Microsoft accounts. This is something that the company has to do, the company's IT, and it would help both the freelancers. I myself think it would be so nice to be able to log in with the same account to all the servers that I work with. It could also help a little the administration of memoQ server users on the company's side.